It's time. Third round. On to the next one. And to start the third round, the Pistons are back on the clock. Locke, you have another chance to continue what was already been a good draft for you. You know, you got Killy, you moved JT to the secondary position. Who are you thinking here to start the third round? Let's see if he gets us a pick. Classic Locke, you with us? Classic. Still waiting on your pick. He's typing. Went with Cousins, official Cousins. So he's going to be the sixth man for Pistons GT. Interesting pick. I'm not wildly familiar with him. I do know that he plays with Larry on Untamed, right, Wes? He plays on Untamed, right? I think so. I think that's right. I'm not gonna say that's like 100%. I'm pretty sure he does. So Cousins goes to Pistons GT, first pick of the third round. Let's go to the Lakers here. Lakers back on the clock. Where are we going for here? It is Fingers. We're back on the clock.
All right. You can hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Who are you thinking?
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of talent on the board. The roster right now that I have is a little interchangeable. So I'm going to go best player available again. I think this year in the league, it's going to be foolish for a team to have only one true ball handler. So I'm going to take Moon here.
Ooh, interesting. Did you think Moon would still be on the board at this point?
No, and I don't think he will be in the third round. I think he goes late first, early second. But he's another steal for the third round, and you could easily slide him to the 2. You can move Kev around. Like they could really go with almost any lineup.
Last question for you before we get the Grizz on here.
Of course.
Do you think he'll be okay playing a 6-man spot, or do you think that could be a little bit of a problem?
I don't know Moon's personality as well as I know other people's. So it does have the potential for that, but I have a lot of trust in Chris. I think he's going to be one of the better coaches in the league. And him and Moody did a great job running Throwdown for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I think no matter what roster they have, they're going to be able to build chemistry with the team.
All right. Well, Moon off the board here in round 3. You did good, Finger. I'm proud of you. So we'll see you at the end of the draft. Let's go to Grizz Gaming now. Marcelo's picking for them. He's not going to hop on the mic. He's taking Height Don't Lose to play shooting guard. He claims he's a scorer. They can play PG if Vandy is boxed. So I like Height Don't Lose. The only issue I have with that pick, I don't really know where he's going to start because obviously Vandy is playing PG, and then you're going to have AA playing the secondary spot. So maybe AA plays power forward. Nacho, can he play power forward, or is he really going to go with that secondary ball handler spot?
I think from what I've seen from Authentic and what I know of him, he's going to want to be a bigger role on the offenses. So I would assume he'd be the secondary, but if somebody falls, he'd be willing to take a step back.
All right. Well, hey, Authentic African's one of the best dudes in the entire league. So if there's anyone who's going to be able to fit their role, it'll be him. But if I'm the Grizz, I certainly want Authentic as big of an offensive role as possible. But don't hate the pick, Marcelo, at all. I think Height's a really, really talented player. I think they'll find a spot for him no matter where it is. All right, let's go to the Hawks. Hawks back on the clock here. Rank them. I know you're not talking to us. Do you have a mic? Are you ready to go? Or are you still going to be tweeting us in? Still in LA traffic. Let's see what he got. Okay, he's going to take J-Rod. Interesting pick. So he's going to put J-Rod at the secondary and put Peroxide at power forward. So now, again, we're seeing kind of how this team comes together. So he has BP and Styles coming into the draft, 2 guys who have multiple years in the league. You add J-Rod, you add Peroxide, another 2 guys who have multiple years in the league, and you have Lee 2K at center. But the most important part with J-Rod is that he already has experience playing with the ball-heavy point guard. He plays with J Money on RDG already in the offseason. And he played with Vandy last year on Grizz Gaming. So I don't hate that pick at all. I think he'd actually be a really good fit next to BP. And I wonder who that 6th man will be. If they're going to go with another shooter, do you go with the backup big man? But I like that pick a lot. All right, 76ers GC on the clock. Their first pick so far. Majesty Jones, you're on the clock here, my guy. You're doing a whole lot of talking before the draft, and now you're up. What's going on? Who you picking?
Okay, so I had a strategy going into this, and it depended on the build meta, which if there's no locks, I feel like Radiant's one of the rare superstars in the league where he could cancel out the other superstar, meaning production match production, right? So with my pick, I'm going with a guy who I think is the best pure sharp prospect in the whole draft, and I'm going to pick Sleeties.
Sleeties. Ooh, I like that. Before you go, he's been playing a lot of power forward. I know he played sharp with dimes, but recently he's played a lot of power forward. Are you okay with that? And or do you still play him again at sharp?
Sleeties can shoot. He could play sharp even if he didn't play as much as the other players have, and he's actually really not a bad off-ball defender as well. He doesn't get credit for that.
The Nacho named him bread loser. I love it. The one other thing I like about 76er GC, you'd be kind of welcoming in a brand new offense into the league where, you just have shooters everywhere. Now, Brett as a shooter last year did struggle, but with Sleeties and ZDS and Radiant, I mean, you're going to have as good of a perimeter shooting team as maybe any in the league that we've ever seen. So that's a really fun new team.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Different approach.
Let's go to the Hornets. Champ, you're back on the clock here. I think you have one more pick after this. Yeah,
I have two. I have two picks. So with this pick, I'm going to go with Too Cool.
Nice.
I'm going to throw him at the power forward. I know he's had a lot of success in this offseason at the center, but last year on Blazers 5, he proved that he can be a role player. He can fit right into that power forward. He can pretty much play anywhere you need. So I'm going to go with Too Cool here.
That is a nasty, nasty defensive team. Nasty. Timely, Too Cool, type. That's just not fair. I love that pick. That's a good one.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Heat Check. Token, you're back on the board here. I believe this is your last pick. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This is my last pick, and it's probably the most difficult because I have no idea. I'm thinking about just kind of get somebody that's versatile that can play 2 through 5 when it comes to versatility. And I'm thinking of picking up Chaz.
Chaz, okay, I like it. So a guy who hasn't seen a ton of starting time in the league, but an experienced 6-man last year with the Nets. Do you think this is the right spot for him to finally get a little bit of play time in the league? And also, what position do you think he'll play on this team?
I do think he'll be a 6-man, and he plays well. He can play lock. He's a great sharp. He's a great lock. He's been playing power forward this year in the pre-draft, and he's done very well there. And if for some reason the starters, which I do think would be the first 5 or 4 that we picked in a hot shot, if one of them is unable to play, one of them is taken sick or something, I think it'll be good. And he can really plug in really anywhere that you ask him to. He's got a great attitude. He has experience at the position. I think he'll be a great spot there, the 6-man.
Hey, if somebody gets mysteriously injured at a tournament again, I think Chaz come in and be ready to go. All right, let's go to number 8 with the Nets. Nets GC back on the clock. Forget who's drafting for the Nets. Oh, Versa, that's right. You're back on the clock here at number 8. Who are you thinking? Versa. TM Chris. I don't know who that is. Nacho, do you know who that is?
Yes, I do. I've heard he's the GOAT sniper. So they're about to be running and gunning out here.
Okay. Hey, a sleeper that I don't know. I'm gonna have to get to studying on TM Chris. But is that a good 6-man pick? Do you think he deserves a starting spot, or do you want him as a 6-man?
I think their starting lineup's more about. They've got a lot of good guys. I think their 6-man, especially knowing Kurt, is somebody he's going to bring in to learn the kind of mold. I think TM Chris is somebody they can do that with.
Okay. All right. Well, TM Chris going to the Nets here. I like it. Wizards, you're back on the clock. I believe it's your last pick. So broke my X button. You have one last pick, and he goes with Potts. Another big man to fit on this Wizards team. I might have gone with another guy that can play guard, but Potts is not a bad pick at all. He can play multiple different positions, both power forward and center. A good brand guy, a guy who knows a lot about the league as well. It was really fun talking to him during the Nets mock draft too. Just really high IQ guy. And I think also, if you really need to transition somebody in and out and you want lineup, I think Potts is going to be a really good guy to do that. Really versatile player, and he's going to act as kind of another coach on that team. And I think him and Dave Fry, from a chemistry standpoint, would be a really good fit. All right, Raptors back on the clock. Yay, you're up here. Who are you thinking?
I was thinking about I was thinking about bringing Quay back, but I think he should be a starter somewhere. So I'm gonna bring this guy back home. I'm gonna take T.S. Josh.
T.S. Josh, a good pick. A guy who's already had experience playing that 6-man role. If Splash doesn't work out at that sharp spot, he could definitely play a couple games there down the floor, especially him and Kenny of playing so long together.
Facts.
All right. Well, thank you for the pick. I appreciate it. We'll get you back on here once we're done and through. But let's go to the Bucks pick. Two picks left here in the third round, I should say. Carrie, you're back on the clock here at 11. Who you thinking?
We have our scoring and Sav and Drake duo plus Bucks. Bucks will give you some buckets. We obviously need a lockdown, and and the lockdown is as good as the center behind him. So I think this duo right here is gonna be solid. I don't know how he dropped this far, and I'm gonna go with Trap Hard Texas.
Trap Hard. Okay, so is that's Trap X2? He's the guy in front. T-Wolves tournament guy. Okay, good one.
That's it.
Good one. Safe lock. I like it. Are you surprised he fell to round 3?
Yeah, he's one of the better locks in this draft. I think he could have been chosen over a couple locks that got drafted early, but I mean, I'm glad he fell to me.
Okay. Well, hey, good pick for the Bucks. We want one last pick for you guys in round 4. Let's go to the Grizz. Marcelo, you're back on the clock here. You already picked Height Don't Lose, and you got an open spot for the 6-man. So, Marcelo, if you're with us, we need your 6-man pick. All right. Well, we're waiting for him to get his pick in. I'm sure he'll type it in soon. This third round's pretty good. I mean, look, I said this on my podcast. I said this during the Nets draft as well. It may not have the top-end talent that the first 2 drafts did, but this is such a deep draft. We are in the end of the third round, and you still have guys like Potts, TM Chris, Too Cool, Sleeties. Like, this round 3 is so stacked. There's so much talent in this draft. It's so deep. And here's another guy. Marcelo ends up taking Classic Lock to go to the Grizz. Classic, you're still with us, I'm pretty sure. You just got picked to the Grizz. Care to comment? Any ideas? How you thinking? How you feeling? Give you a chance to respond here if you want to mute yourself. Maybe. Classic.
He sounds ecstatic.
I know. He sounds over the moon that he gets to go play with Goofy in Memphis. Oh, well, he had his chance to respond.